Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about all the books that I read in January and if I recommend them, and I'm going to give my ratings. And I'm also at the end going to talk about my February TBR and all the books that I want to read in February. So the first book that I finished was Eileen by Tessa Moshfegh, and this book was very mundane for most of it. It was really just about the everyday life of this girl who works at a prison, and she was also the caretaker of her father, and not a lot happened. It kind of just showed, it was like building up towards the end. And I feel like I would recommend this to anyone who is really patient, because it's something that you just have to really sit through and wait for the ending. But I still enjoyed this a lot. It was very, I think it was a little grotesque in some ways. Not really, but it was just very open talking about certain topics. And yeah, maybe it's not for everyone, but I definitely would recommend anyone who knows Otessa Moshfegh's writing and likes it. I would recommend it to them. Also, anyone who has patience. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, I did enjoy it. It was a good start to the year. And then I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm not going to talk too much about this because I have a whole video about this book. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I recommend this for anyone who's like just getting into fantasy like I am, because it's very easy to follow. And yeah, it was pretty exciting too, to start out into a new world, and I didn't feel lost or anything at all. So I would recommend this. I rated this 4 out of 5, as I said. The next book I read was A Touch of Jen by Beth Morgan. I don't know if this cover can be on YouTube, but I'm gonna cover it anyway. This one was really weird. It's about this couple that's really obsessed with this other woman. It's a mutual obsession, and it just like takes a turn into so many different things that I didn't expect. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I would recommend this to anyone who wants something that'll kind of mess with their head a little bit. Yeah, as I said, 4 out of 5 stars. Pretty good. Next, I read Look at the Lights, My Love by Annie Ernaux. I feel like I read a bunch of Annie Ernaux's just like palette cleansers. They're really short, and I just sit and read one within like an hour or something. And this one was just her writing her experiences at the grocery store. It was interesting, but honestly, I think if you like Annie Ernaux, I would recommend this to anyone who likes Annie Ernaux already and enjoys her writing, because for the most part, that's what I'm reading this for. And I think a lot of people are reading it just for her writing and not to actually find out about the grocery stores. So yeah, if you've read Annie Ernaux before and you've liked it, I would recommend this. And I think I gave this a 4 out of 5. The next book I read was Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I read this when I was on vacation. I also talked about this in a different video, so I won't talk about it too much. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. This was my first 5 star read of the year. I remember a lot of people don't like the trope in this book, and I don't really like it either. I don't like it in real life, but I'm just reading about it, so I don't care. And I also just didn't hold that many emotions towards, like, it's a it's a second chance romance, and obviously they stopped talking for a reason. And I think like a lot of people get really upset about the reason they stopped talking and stuff, and I just didn't really hold that much weight to it. I didn't care that much because they grew up. It's like 10 years later they're adults. They moved on. So I think that's pretty realistic. I mean, I don't know if I would be with someone after 10 years, but when it comes to moving on and stuff, yeah, that's pretty realistic. So I still really like this. I know a lot of people don't, but 5 out of 5 for me. Oh, I would recommend this to anyone who wants just a nice contemporary romance. It's a very good beach read. It's pretty emotional. I feel like it's not the most like light-hearted thing, but that's a good thing sometimes. Also, if you are experiencing winter right now, I would suggest you read this just to escape from it a little bit. This is also another book that I already talked a lot about in a different video. Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend this to anyone who wants a nice, light-hearted romance. I feel like this one wasn't as emotional, although there were some like emotional topics, but it definitely wasn't as emotional as the other one. It's a little bit more of a fluffy romance. So I would recommend it to anyone who's in the mood for that or likes that kind of thing. And then on my Kindle, I read Here With Me by Brooke Montgomery, and it was it was like small town cowboy romance, and I always forget how these can be so vulgar, I guess. And there's like a lot of spice in it, and I always forget that. I don't know why I think small town and I think it's gonna be really wholesome. That's usually not the case. It definitely wasn't the case with this one. Um, so yeah, I would not recommend it to anyone who doesn't want to read a lot of spice. I think I rated this 3.25 stars. I am going to put my actual ratings on the screen because I can't fully remember, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. I think it was still entertaining. The trope in this is ex-boyfriend's father, and I don't know why I thought that was going to be wholesome. I guess that's just an error on my part, but yeah, it was still entertaining. It was still fun to read. I still love reading about small towns and cowboys and stuff. It's just so different from the life that I actually live. So yeah, 3.25. I recommend it if you want small town cowboy romance with a lot of spice. But also, there was this like slight mystery in it, and I feel like I wish the author like played into that way more. It would have been so much more interesting, but oh well. Then I read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and I read this in under 24 hours, and that was not intentional at all. I started it, and then I remember at night I was like, oh, I'm just gonna read like 50 more pages, and then I ended up staying up until like 4 a.m. reading the entire thing because it just got so good, and it was hooking me so much. Oh my god, I rated this 5 stars too. I have like 2 5 stars in the month of January, and this was the second one. I feel like I don't read a lot of mystery thrillers, and so I'm not the type of person to ever guess what happened or guess why people are the way they are. I literally just sit and read and enjoy them, and I'm always like, oh my god, why is this happening? Who is telling you? I don't even, this is none of this is true, and I still don't even think I know the truth. I literally don't. But I was really intrigued by this, and I recommend this for people who don't read a lot of um, mystery thrillers. I think you would find this really fascinating, like I did. So yeah, 5 out of 5, loved it, and I kind of want to read more by Lisa Jewell. It's funny because I think she has another book that was really popular that I always wanted to read, but I never did, and now I really want to read it because this was amazing. My one and only DNF of the month of the one DNF of the year so far. We Don't Know What We're Doing by Thomas Morris. The thing about this is that I still have my bookmark and everything. I got to page 197 and then I DNF'd it. And I feel like it's not one of those things where I'm never going to read it again because it's a collection of short stories. So if I decided to pick this up again in like 2 months, it's not like I have to really remember what I read here. I could just go read the other 2 stories. It's literally just 2 stories left, and I kind of feel like I should just finish it, which I think I will eventually, but I don't know. Something about short stories, the thing about them is that I will love some of them and then I would hate some of them. But for this one, I feel like I was liking a lot of the short stories at first, and then a couple of them in a row just got really boring. So I was like, I'm gonna stop. And so, yeah, that was the DNF of the month, unfortunately. Oh my god, I am so ridiculous. I completely forgot that I read Thrive by Kristen Becker Ritchie. It's the fourth book in the Addicted series. And I think the reason that I forgot I read it is because that book is the same storyline of the 2 previous books in the Calloway Sisters series that I already read. It's just in different people's point of view, so I was kind of rereading. That's what it felt like. So yeah, that one I only rated it 3.5 stars. Honestly, it was still, of course, entertaining, and I still love all the characters in that series so much. But yeah, it was the same book as the others. It was just in a different point of view. So it was like all the same events happening. Like, how interesting can that really be, you know? So yeah, 3.25. I recommend it to anyone who is reading the Addicted Calloway series, obviously. If you're not, you can't start there. All right, now I'm gonna go get my February TBR. The only two books that I actually have physically so far are Love Theoretically and The 7 Year Slip. And Valentine's Day is coming up, so I'm probably going to read a lot of romance this month. Another book that I want to read is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I'm just going to read that on my Kindle. I want to continue the Addicted Calloway series. That's also on my Kindle. Um, oh my God, my most anticipated read of the year. It's coming out in February 13th. Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. But the only thing is that I don't know if it's going to arrive to me in February because I ordered it from this store in the UK, Blackwell's or whatever. So we'll see when that comes. If it comes in February, it's definitely on my February TBR. And if not, I'll just read it in March. I want to read a Mariana Zapata book because I remember I used to really love Mariana Zapata, and for some reason I just haven't read one of her books in almost a year. The last one I read was literally last year, January. So I want to read Mariana Zapata, and I want to also continue the Actor series. So A Court of Mist and Fury is next. And I definitely want to read at least one in the series next month so that I could just continue on. But yeah, those were the books that I read in January, and those are the books that I want to read in the upcoming month. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, please subscribe, and I'll have new videos every week. Bye!